Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about Creeping Death and their debut record Wretched Illusions, out September 27th on E1. The album has 10 tracks and it's just over the 39-minute mark. Now, this record, as far as I'm concerned, really hits the nail on the head. It's not easy for a band to jump in shark-infested waters and deliver a debut record that sounds like a record that's been put out by a band that's seasoned, that's put out many records before. This record has that polished feel to it. It just feels very complete. It feels very put together. It feels like the band knew exactly what they wanted. They knew where to start. They knew where to finish. They had a vision and they followed it through and they delivered with this album. As far as sound is concerned, this is an old school death metal band that has a lot of thrash metal influences into their sound. So you really see a play from those two roles. You hear a lot of influences from early on Sepultura, 100% on this record. Not to say that they copied their sound or they took from their sound, because what you're going to hear on this album is very unique to this band and how they structure the songs and how the overall album is structured. But you can feel that, and here and there you can hear some influences from early on Sepultura for sure, but even other bands like Bolt Thrower. Now, as far as the overall structure of the record, this is a very linear record. And it's a record that is turned to 12, not 11. It's turned to 12 from the beginning, and it stays turned to 12 all the way through. You never feel like there's a dip throughout this record. It always feels like it was pushed high, and it stayed high all the way through. That is the vibe that you get from the overall structure on the album. Now, on the individual side, each song has a very dynamic changes, has very dynamic and fluid changes that allows the songs to have certain dips in it of intensity. So dropping from intensity to a more methodic approach. That is fine on the individual song level, but when you start looking at the overall songs and then when you put the whole record together, when you think about the whole album, you never feel those dips. You always feel like you're at a very high point and you're being held there at gunpoint. That's pretty much how you feel, how your feeling experience is listening to this album. The vocals on the album are absolutely amazing. They feel like they're coming from the deepest, darkest parts of hell. From the delivery perspective, but also how they sound on the record. It really has the ability to add intensity and darkness at the same time with the same style, with the same delivery. And I really like that because it plays really well off of the songs on this record, and it really fits the mood of the tracks and overall the mood of the record. From a guitars and drums perspective, to me, those two come together. Because while the guitars have the ability to be the driver on this record and change the direction of the songs from a more intensive to a more methodic approach, the drummer is on the passenger side holding a map. So the two are intertwined. You cannot have one without the other. The two really feed off of each other. And like I said, while the guitars are driving this record forward, the drums are not too far behind. They're right next to it. And they allow the guitars to have that dynamic and fluid approach while holding the whole album together and giving the overall feel of intensity that this record has to offer. Like I said, this is an old school death metal record played by a new, fresh band. Also with some, let's not forget, with some thrash metal influences in there, because that's really obvious as you go through this whole album. You can start to pick from certain tracks, or from every track, you can start to pick certain points where you can feel the fusion between those two sounds. Having said that, the predominant main ingredient on this album is definitely this amazing old school death metal sound. Now, as far as songs are concerned, I picked 3 tracks that I really enjoyed the moment I listened to this album. These tracks immediately, outside of the 2 singles, these tracks were immediately songs that captivated me. And I want to start on that note. I want to start with Captivity. This track has an opening drum line, absolutely killer opening drum line. That to me was, I just wish was a little bit longer. In my opinion, it was a little bit too short. It should have gone a little bit longer, almost like opening the track with a drum solo. That's almost the vibe that you get. It doesn't go that far, but that's the vibe that you get. I just wish, like I said, it had gone a little bit longer. This song is brutal from the get-go, very heavy, with heavy riffs that really dictate the pace of the song. It's almost, this song almost feels like a thrash metal riff that was beaten to death, because it really has components of those two styles, of those two genres of death metal and thrash metal. So the way the riff sounds, the main riff on this song, really feels like a deafened thrash metal riff, if you will. This song has peaks and valleys. It has slumbering moments that become a lot more heavy, a lot like dragging, and then it has a lot of aggression in other moments. So it's a song that really plays off of these two very different, distinct styles, but incorporates them or interweaves them so good that they come one off of the other perfectly. You don't even feel like you're getting off of a more aggressive moment into a more methodic moment until you're already halfway through it. This song also has a great extended solo that just really allows the song to be extended. It allows the song to be longer. I really love what they did with the solo on this track. Next one is Sinner's Torch, killer riff. It really picks up the tempo as it gets underway. It's a song that just feels like it's gaining momentum. The internal structure changes don't affect the relentlessness that this song has to offer. The song does have momentum changes with some slower moments, but those moments always give you the feeling that the song is waiting to explode. So that allows even those slower moments to still feel like they're high octane, that they have a lot of energy built into them. This track also merges, like every single track on this album, some more than others. This one also merges that thrash metal sound with that old school death metal. And that merger on this song perhaps is one of the best in the whole record, because I really feel like they're almost creating a brand new genre with this song. The merger between the two is so perfect that it is seamless. The drums towards the closing off of the song are extremely powerful and really allow this song to finish off on a very strong and heavy note. Last but not least, my favorite song on the whole album, World Decay. This song is absolutely incredible. This song changes on a dime. It's just absolutely abrupt, the changes. It goes from a little bit more aggressive moments to these really heavy, slower, methodic moments, but the changes are violent. The changes are not methodic. There's not a progression. It's just really violent switches within the song. You get these bursts, and then you get these really slow down moments, and they just happen like almost immediately. There's no build up to it, and there's no easing yourself into it either. It's just really abrupt, and I really like that dynamic change that the song has to offer. This stays true throughout the whole track. The build up in the vocals in the last third of the song is absolutely killer when you mix in the drums and guitars and the way it sounds, the way it finishes the song off. It finishes off in a such methodic, heavy, dragging a body through the mud kind of way. Perfect ending to a song that has that many changes throughout to finish off on this strong note. I love this track, my favorite song on the album. Alright guys, this is it for me. This is Creeping Death, Wretched Illusions, once again out September 27th on E1. Let me know your thoughts on the band. Remember, this is their debut record, so if you like death metal, go support them. But let me know your thoughts on the band, if you heard the singles, or if you saw them live. Let me know in the comment section below. I'll be looking forward to reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.